So then, we are back with more understanding from the time of the Second Tabernacle services, where we find in the Aramaic English translation of the word. This translation comes from the original manuscripts of the prophets of the Israelic lineage. So then we can understand the time of the end, period, Mashiyach the prophet. Then we find a layer of understanding of the time of the restoration of the holy cities of the Mashiyach laid waste for many centuries. And then also the Gentiles were included in the plan of the restoration. So then, as far as the war is concerned in the Korean Peninsula, it is absolutely ridiculous spending time and try to defend the other nations because of the threats. Come on, let's be realistic. Any kind of movement from the Koreans would jeopardize then the Asia market. And let me ask you this, since China is the most prominent country of the area, a neighbor of North Korea, do you think they would want a war where then the nuclear reactors over there would be busted and contaminate the sea? Come on, think of it. Why are we wasting time with this situation when we should rather doing what the Mashiyach said for us to do? Taxation, instant taxation. We are wasting time deploying this junky machinery overseas, and we are neglecting our taxation. So then the Mashiyach said, give to the government what belongs to the government, and give God what belongs to God. We understand the Chinese system is coming shortly in the next 36 months. We understand the freighters are going to be in charge. We understand nations should be lining up with the plan of the Mashiyach, and we are neglecting what the Mashiyach said. It is absolutely ridiculous spending time on the internet and watching this junky novel because the government has nothing else to do. The government is incompetent. The government does not know how to lean up the system. They are not taxing properly. They are wallowing around expecting some sort of a savior to come and take them by the hand. Won't take place. So then, the Mashiyach said, give to the government what belongs to the government, and give God what belongs to God. What do we understand as far as taxation is concerned? Freighters are going to be in charge. What do you understand of governments? Why did the Mashiyach say then freighters rather than governments? Because the Mashiyach understands it is a system coming where the nations are going to be lining up with it, where they are going to be giving orders. It's time of the freighters, no longer time for governments. However, during the time of Daniel, prior of the restoration period, explains then the nations during the time of the deceit. And nations would try to come together, or kingdoms, and they would try to adhere to each other, but they would not. Time of deceit. And then at the end of the time of deceit, knowledge would increase, then starting the time of the dragon, where then precision and knowledge would be available. However, for the intent of trade. During the time of Daniel, he was then a tradesperson. He is explaining from a trade's viewpoint. That's why the Mashiyach then later he said, freighters of the earth relates with trade. So then there is no time to waste with this junky war. We should be taxing each parcel, making deals with the freighters, either by sea or by air or by land, making sure every time there is a label printed, then the government deducts, then tax. Because the Mashiyach already gave the answer. There is a system coming where freighters are then in charge. The only link with freighters and government would be taxation via transportation. There is no other area. The Mashiyach said, give to the government what belongs to the government, and give God what belongs to God. And then the Mashiyach during the time of the restoration no longer mentions kingdoms and nations. He speaks of freighters. prior of this time, Daniel mentions then the time of deceit and then the increasing of knowledge for the purpose of trade. Daniel was a tradesperson, he was a politician. He speaks of tabernacling at the very end of it, when the rock comes and destroys then the statue. Prior of it, he's a politician, he's a tradesperson, he's a person of investment. So why are we then ridiculously wasting time with this novel? Because the government is always trying to find some sort of a novel. They are so tremendously incompetent. Then some time ago was sequestration. And there was then at least a month speaking of sequestration. And then the novel of either the president or then the Speaker of the House, they don't get along, the Democrats and then Republicans, they can get along, enjoying each other's incompetence. Now comes the other novel, then the Korea. They are doing this for years. They are activating the nuclear plant and then they shut down and they turn back on and then they shut down again. Come on, think of it. Being the very neighbors of the most powerful country on the planet, do you think they're going to have the power stations over there with the nuclear material then blown up in pieces and then having this cloud of radioactive material, then the ocean would be then contaminated? We should be taxing instead. Do what the Mashiyach said to do. God, our government is so incompetent.